This is football. I'm Kevin Clark. Guys, Chris Sims, he always brings it. Very few people study football like him. Best playbook in the NFL. I don't want to spoil it, but he goes deep on it. Some great Eagles insight. Drake Maye talk. I mean, man, this is the good stuff. And then again, storytelling mode at the end. He tells great stories. I mean, he was on the Bucks. He was on the Warren Sapp Bucks. He's got some stories. As a reminder, This is Football is presented by Manscaped. Upgrade your grooming routine with products built for modern men. Now available at Walmart. Ladies and gentlemen, Chris Sims. All right, Chris Sims is here. NBC Sports. Chris Sims unbuttoned with our buddy Connor Rogers, who always brings it. I always feel so bad how often he has to talk about the Jets, man. I feel really bad. He's like the last guy.
I hear you.
There's this like now. Like the Panthers podcasters giving up, that was a story. And then over the weekend, I saw a bunch of Florida State podcasters gave up. A lot of these fan bases, they're just like, hey, I'm done here. Connor Rogers is like, no, I'm potting more about the Jets. That's an incredible trait to have.
Well, we know the Jets fans, I think, like misery a little bit, right? If you know some Jets fans, I don't really think they're happy. They like when there's a little dysfunction. So it's a strange fan base that way. They're passionate, they're awesome, but like, you know, they're the fan base that'll root for the backup quarterback when the starting quarterback's kind of doing good. But yeah, they're loyal as hell, that's for sure. And yeah, Connor is all over the Jets when it comes to anything Jets football related.
All right, I'm going to be doing the show sheet for this. I felt so negative because it's like, I want to know what's wrong with the Steelers offense, what's wrong with the Eagles offense, what's wrong with and I was just like, I just want to start positively because once you go to negative town, we're not coming out, okay? We're not coming out because there's just so many offenses that have been dysfunctional this year, and I want to get to those, but I want to start here. You always are up on this, and you always have an answer that's usually ahead of the curve because a couple years ago, you gave me Kevin O'Connell for this, right? And that was when nobody was talking about it, okay? I'll give it to you right now. The best playbook in the sport right now belongs to who, Chris Sims?
Okay, best playbook in the sport right now. Okay, there's a few that come to mind right away. Of course, the Los Angeles Rams are up there. But no, you know what? I'm going to say this. Right now, I think it's clearly Ben Johnson and the Chicago Bears. That's the best playbook. Ben Johnson has the best. He has it all. Right? He really does. And, you know, like the comments you might have heard him say on Monday, we're winning in spite of the passing game. They're not hitting on all cylinders there. He's still rewiring the robot of Caleb Williams of how to play pocket passer, throw balls on time, throw balls on rhythm, right? And Caleb's not there yet. And within all that, he's missing some throws that you go, man, you're too good to miss that throw right there. But that's part of what happens when you're thinking, oh, wait, I got to do this. This isn't natural to me yet. Because Caleb, of course, his whole career has been able to go, wait, is that guy wide open? Oh, no, he's not. Okay, so then I can dance around and make a play happen, right? And that's what he's gotten away with because he's super talented. But right now, Ben Johnson's going, wait, you're never going to be a superstar in football, right? We're never going to go to where we need to go as far as getting to a Super Bowl until you start playing the game the right way in the pocket. So Caleb's still adjusting to that. But like when you look at their pass game concepts, of course, the trick plays that are just part of their offense, extremely creative. Their run game too, Kevin, is it's up there with Shanahan as far as creativity, right? Oh. So, you know, I Shanahan, McVay, Ben Johnson, Andy Reid, I'm probably missing. Josh McDaniels' offense is very special, right? But I would give Ben Johnson and the Bears the cake right now.
You mentioned Josh McDaniels. His work with Drake Maye has been incredible. And it was funny, on the Manning cast on Monday night, they were going through it, and they're just running Brady concepts. And it's incredible to see Drake Maye execute this stuff. They were showing how they use the tight end with Gronk, and now they're able to do it with the personnel, with Hunter Henry and the personnel that the Patriots have now. Everybody is saying now, after Monday, that Drake Maye looks like an MVP candidate, looks like on track to be one of the best players in the sport. I don't mean to be negative because I love the guy, but I guess the question is we've had a lot of young players where there's a 14-game sample size, maybe not like this, where, hey, they look like the world beaters. You know, we had CJ Stroud a couple years ago, and then his thing happened. So in the context of having a great stretch, how real is this, Chris?
Oh, no, it's real. Right. First off, you know, even just on this too, because I've had to answer this. CJ Stroud's still real.
I
right? I
agree.
mean,
I agree.
this is where, again, I've had a lot of people like, well, Bryce Young is catching up. The Panthers have done everything to justify Bryce Young as the number one pick. All they've done is gone, we have to make him look good because it didn't look very good. So they have one of the best O-lines in football. They have 2 first-round receivers. They got a pretty athletic tight end, right? So they have that. And when you go to C.J. Stroud, it's like, oh, wait, they just redid the whole offensive line and threw them out on the streets. They can't run the ball. And because he's so good, they've kind of gone, hey, he'll cover some holes now as we
Right.
kind of rebuild the offense. So that, to me, in itself, C.J. Stroud gets a bad rap because of that. But
Agree.
with the Drake Maye stuff, it is real, right? He was a guy that I was a little down on coming in the NFL draft, and I was wrong because, well, one, his throwing was all over the place. Anybody that goes back and watches college football his last year at North Carolina, it was everywhere. But he's fixed all his mechanical issues for the most part, and then he's got great coaching around him. And you brought up, like, the Brady concepts. What they're doing right now is early years Brady, right? It's the first 3 Super Bowls where it was, we're going to be balanced, we're going to run the football. You're going to only throw it 24, 25 times a game. But when you throw, we're going to be pretty aggressive and make some plays down the field, right? So that's what's, I think, one is he's playing awesome. 2, they have a great system. I think they're bringing him along the right way. I don't want to say managing because they're not managing him. But even last night, Troy Aikman made a comment going, hey, this is just Josh McDaniels said this. He's still on the tip of the iceberg as far as that offense is concerned, right? Because that's an in-depth, very intricate offense, and he's been phenomenal, and he deserves to be in the MVP race. He's right up there. I'm going to still put Matthew Stafford 1, but I think right now Drake Maye's 2.
I agree, and I also think that when you're looking around, I'm not seeing a dominant team. And like I always use the golf analogy, with some of these quarterbacks, where I always say that the Masters happens, and there's eight modern golfers who, if they play their game, they should win every time. John Rahm and Justin Thomas and all those guys. With the quarterbacks this year, I always look at it like that. If Mahomes is on, he can win. He should win the Super Bowl. If Lamar Jackson is on, he should win the Super Bowl. Josh Allen, Joe Burrow, all those guys, they should win the Super Bowl every single year, and they can only be defeated by each other. The problem is all of them play for incomplete teams, or they're hurt, or they're off, or their team is playing sloppy.
Right.
And so I'm looking at this Patriots team, and I'm saying, you think they're not a Super Bowl contender because they went from 2 wins to 12 wins already, but you look around and you say, they can beat anybody because it's an incomplete league right now, Chris.
Definitely, especially in the AFC. The AFC is very incomplete. They're the only, I might say they're the only complete team in the AFC. Yeah. When you just look at it and go, wait, there's no glaring weakness, right? I think all the other teams, you can kind of pick apart 1 or 2 things to go, I'm not sure about. I love that aspect. We know Denver's good. But yeah, and then you talk about New England's built for playoff football. New England's the ultimate Northeast football team that way. And they can win a lot of different ways. Again, just like you saw last night. Drake Maye hasn't thrown for 300 yards the whole year. That's pretty amazing for a guy in the MVP conversation. But again, it speaks to how good and balanced the rest of the team is. They're going to be able to be game plan specific on the defense week in and week out. That's going to be tough in the playoffs. Same on the offensive side of the ball. They got one of the best returners in the sport, as we know, and in special teams. And then, of course, the offense has great versatility. I think they are the most complete team in the AFC. The NFC has, I think, some better football teams overall. And I would still say, I know the Rams lost last week, right? But I would still say the Rams are the best team in football, but New England's not far off and certainly in the conversation.
I completely agree. And I knew Vrabel was going to have a lot of success because I did a big story on him a couple years ago. Your colleague Rodney Harrison called him the best a-hole he knows, which is an incredible compliment, especially from Rodney. Like, if you're the best a-hole Rodney Harrison knows, you're going to be an amazing coach. And that's Mike Vrabel. Okay. And the other thing is, I will comment on my show a couple weeks ago, and I said, why is Vrabel such a good coach? And he said, because he boils down, there's only like 3 things that are a key to a specific game. And he's just incredible at communicating those things over and over. He doesn't bog you down. He doesn't, throw in extra, things that don't matter. Hey, we're going to no. There's 3 things, and we're going to communicate it that week over and over and over. And I think that's his message is simple, and you can see those kind of turnarounds. There's honesty involved. Like you could see this kind of turnaround coming, but not to this degree. But anyway,
maybe not to this extent. Definitely not to this extent. I picked them to go to the playoffs, right? That's how much I did believe in them.
But I thought they'd be like an 8-win team. Not like,
Vrabel's a Bill Parcells Jr. That's what I call him on the podcast and on when I'm on Florio with Pro Football Talk. That's who he reminds me of. He can be a little surly. He can be a little curt at times. He can also be engaging and charismatic. He's perfect for the Boston, New York media, all the crap that you got to deal with. And yes, he's very detailed in everything he does. And he's got a few base principles like you talk about every game where he goes, yeah, 1, 2, 3 things. If we just take care of this, we should be in a good spot to win the football game. And yeah, they got it all up there in New England. It's incredible. It's a testament to Robert Kraft and again, ownership and how they can do things and the decisions they make. Very impressive with the New England Patriots.
I completely agree. I do want to say one thing about the Parcells analogy. I think I worship Parcells. Like, I read his book. I think he's amazing. I watch his old interviews. Vrabel, same thing. What was funny is I ran into a guy over the summer who played for Vrabel when he was young. And he said that what was funny about it reminds me exactly like Parcells is he's like, he liked this guy liked Vrabel. And he goes, one of the problems though is he's trying to play head games with you. And I'm just like, I'm just trying to make the teams on special teams, man. I don't know. Like he's trying to do all this like head games, but it's like, that's what Vrabel is going to do. Like, it doesn't matter who you are. It doesn't matter if you're guy 53 or guy number 2. He's going to play head games with you. And if you're not up for it, or you're just trying to make the team, right? You're not a Patriot. You're not a Titan. You're not whatever.
Right.
All right. Let's get to the negative stuff, unfortunately. I want to start. Everybody's talking about this with the Steelers right now. I think Arthur Smith's a good coach. I think his offense is good. But when I look at the quarterbacks, I'm seeing 10 of 24 combined, no touchdowns, 1 sack. Mason Rudolph throws a pick basically instantaneously every time he comes into the game. Aaron Rodgers, I thought if he could be the 15th best quarterback, the roster could get them to the playoffs. Don't know if I'm seeing that right now, but with that division, who knows? I'll put it to you. What's wrong with the Steelers?
Yeah, well, I mean, one, the quarterback play is not special. Arthur Smith, as much as I like his offense, you got to be able to run the ball a little bit too. I think that helps his offense. And then I do believe the offense has been hijacked by Aaron Rodgers to a degree. So, some of the plays you're seeing are like not called in the huddle. Again, you hear that just on Sunday in the press conference. Oh, I gave him this signal. He should have gone in, but he went out. Right? So he hijacks a lot of plays. So it's really hard to tell what Arthur Smith calls and doesn't call. And then on top of that, yes, Aaron Rodgers still isn't an aggressive decision maker. And if you really watch where he throws the football, I mean, it's slant, it's a flat, it's a back shoulder, it's a go route out there. There's very few throws aggressively down the middle of the field into tight windows. You can break it down. It doesn't go there a lot. It's been like that for a while with Rodgers. Then I also think Rodgers doesn't understand that he's 42 now. Happy birthday to him today. And he still dances around the pocket sometimes like it's 2014. And I'm like, those days are over, man. I mean, the last 2 times we've seen that, he took a safety against the Chargers and got a strip sack fumble for a touchdown the other day. Right? So there's some of that. I don't think the talent at the receiver position, as you know, is all that as well. They can't run the ball all that good. So I think when you couple all those things together, right, I think that's where you look at an offense that's just not performing at a very high level. And then on top of that, the defense isn't very good either. So there's issues all around with the Pittsburgh Steelers organization right now.
I agree with everything you just said. It was interesting to me because I don't want to say I saw it coming, but Aaron Rodgers joined that team very late. And I did some reporting when Matt LaFleur was his head coach. And it took them a while to take the Aaron Rodgers offense and the Matt LaFleur offense and blend that. And the Aaron Rodgers stuff, a lot of it is spread the defense out, use your cadence. But then the concepts from Mike McCarthy, Rodgers is still very comfortable with those. And so Aaron Rodgers shows up and he doesn't get a lot. We didn't have a spring. He didn't have, a couple months to just sit down with Arthur Smith and say, here's how we're going to blend this. And so I'm not surprised that he's, as you said, hijacking the offense a little bit. But can you give me some examples? Is it just like you can tell that there's just a lot of times where you get to the huddle and he's making changes a little bit?
Yeah, exactly right. You see things at the line of scrimmage. He's changing things. He's giving everybody signals. He's still running what I would call core Aaron Rodgers plays, right? I mean, yeah, we meshed everything together with the Jets to do what? Everything he wanted to do. That's all it was. It's just, and again, yes, so that's what I look at. And he's become a dink and dunk quarterback. That's my big thing with Aaron Rodgers the last few years. Makes very few big time throws anymore. Saw it a little at the end of the season with the Jets last year. That gave me some hope going into this year. But yeah, again, the game is right here, slant, slant flat, pick for a guy and throw it to the flat. Oh, DK Metcalf's one-on-one, throw him a back shoulder. Oh, he's one-on-one and he beat the guy off the line of scrimmage. Let me throw a little fade, right? But you don't ever really see concepts worked in the middle of the field. That's why you don't see Pat Freiermuth. He's been a non-existent. And a lot of, you don't see just the ball ever work there if you looked at a heat chart as far as where he throws the ball. So, yeah, there's a lot of things there. If we had more time and we could sit and watch film and things, I'd go, look, this is a Rodgers play. This is a Rodgers play. And, that's an issue. And then you couple that with, like I said, not being able to run the ball, the defense, the Steelers have misevaluated their whole football team.
Yeah.
And it's just they need to kind of blow it up and start over this offseason.
I'm in broad agreement with that. I just think at some point, I think some teams, the fact that they don't ever pick top 5 can sometimes hurt against them. Just get you the fact that obviously TJ Watt is amazing. They're able to get guys like that, but at some point, maybe you hit the reset button. I don't know what that looks like. And I also think, by the way, I had Jeff around this week too. If Mike Tomlin leaves, it should be his decision. But I actually don't think it would be the worst thing in the world for Mike Tomlin to go someplace like East Rutherford, New Jersey, and say, I'm starting anew. I'm going to tell you how this is going to be. I'm going to change the culture here. We need to change culture. The only time I saw a stat this morning, Chris, that the only time the Giants have, I think, made the playoffs in back-to-back years, like in the last 40 years, they've been Bill Parcells and Tom Coughlin. They need a guy like that to come in and say, this is how it's going to be. So I wouldn't hate a guy like that.
Nah, when Daboll got fired, he's one of the first names I brought up because, of course, we know the Mara and the Rooney family are very close, and there's a lot of crossover there, right? The Giants, I do believe, need somewhat of a proven commodity, and I think maybe that we're at the point, like Andy Reid in Philadelphia. The organization could be top-notch. Andy Reid's top-notch, but at some point, sometimes things just get stale, and it's run its course, and it might be that time in Pittsburgh finally, which is crazy to say.
All right, I promised you a little more negative, and we're gonna get there with the Eagles right now. Chris Canty was on the show last week, had a great breakdown of just the lack of creativity in the run game. But now it just seems like with the Eagles, everything is broken. The offensive coordinator, I mean, this is just ridiculous. Someone said his house got vandalized this week. Like, it's reaching ridiculous levels, and I understand you're going to be under the microscope in Philadelphia, but we can stop short of vandalizing the OC's house, guys.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
But playbook wise and just offense wise, you had a tweet a couple weeks ago that I found interesting. Basically, just like, if it's not AJ Brown 1-on-1 or Devontae Smith getting open 1-on-1, there's just not a lot of creativity. Take me through if Nick Sirianni calls in and says, "Chris, help me," what are you telling him?
So everybody's blaming the coaches, and the blame deserves to be on the quarterback, and that's it. This is why you heard last week and the week before from Philadelphia beat writers that have been there forever, Seth Joyner, all these people that, there's a lot of unhappiness in the organization about the quarterback. The quarterback won't play the game in the pocket. The quarterback has hijacked the offense and won't let them run certain plays. I've been saying this for 2 years. Right now, people are starting to realize, and I'm not just saying it, I know it. I've been told by people that are there now, people that were there and left. Nick Sirianni didn't get this job because they went, man, you only have 5 plays in your offense. We want you. We want you. They run a limited offense because of the quarterback. The run game's never been creative. Right? It's never. Last year, it wasn't overly creative. It was a lot of the same runs you're seeing right now, right? But at the same time, as you know, in the NFL, teams figure out how to defend certain things, right? And then here with this, teams have found the formula to go, wait, we cannot be steamrolled by the biggest, most powerful offensive line in football. We can figure out ways to stop the run because the pass game is so simple, and there's certain plays and throws that the quarterback just won't throw. So that's what it looks like. I broke it down on my podcast last week. I mean, if you look at plays from the Cowboy game, there's people open everywhere when they can't score, in the second, third, and fourth quarter. But there's a quarterback that doesn't really go through the reads. He watches the rush. He doesn't throw the ball on rhythm, right? And I know he's told them that he doesn't want the offense to be crazy, right? So he doesn't. He's been very firm about it. I want the same way the offense was when we went to the Super Bowl and lost to the Chiefs the first time. So he's not going to allow them to reinvent the wheel and do different things there. So that's where everybody's got to get off the coaches. This is where the organization's going crazy because the public is pointing the finger at everybody except the guy that deserves the blame. And all the players and coaches know it's the quarterback. And that's the issue with everything. It's not high-level throws. And if you watch it, yes, he never reads the play or the concept. He plays one-on-one ball, and a little bit like we talked about with Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, you look at A.J. Brown, it's either he's one-on-one and we throw the ball up or a back shoulder, or we throw slant routes one-on-one to him or Devontae Smith. And it's just hard to operate like that in the 2025 NFL. So that's where I go crazy because I watched the game. I saw Nick Sirianni's offense before he got hired, right? I've seen everything they do, and everybody, and I know there's a lot I respect about Jalen Hurts, but people are not wanting to handle the truth here. The Eagles are telling you, A.J. Brown is telling you, the beat writers that talk to all the coaches are telling you, but the public just doesn't want to hear it, and that's the biggest issue with the football team. They have the most talent on the offense in any team in the sport. We went through the same thing last year. People got those very short memories. We went through about a 10-week span where the passing offense stunk last year, but the running game was amazing. But let's not forget the wild card game against the Packers. The pass game stunk. The divisional round against the Rams. The pass game stunk. The regular season games leading up to that. The pass game stunk. Then we had a good game against Washington and, of course, a good game against Super Bowl, and everybody kind of wiped away like, oh, wait, we played a lot of close games in November and December because our offense and our passing game was dysfunctional. But they won the Super Bowl and everybody wipes the slate clean. So I'm sorry to answer so long there, but it's one of those that drives me crazy a little bit because I answer it all the time and people just don't want to see it for what it is. They won the Super Bowl as the lowest passing offense in the history of football to ever win the Super Bowl. And that says something too. So yeah, it's not high-level quarterback play. And it's finally come home to roost with two teams here that went, wait, now Dallas, the defense can't save us. They have some weapons and they know how to block us up front and they got some guys. Oh no, again, just like last week, the defense can't save us. Oh no, Ben Johnson's got all these plays and they're running the ball and Caleb's making a few throws and the defense has saved them for the better part of the last 8 or 10 weeks to where we've kind of gone, oh, I don't know. It's not the offense. It's not Jalen. It's probably AJ or the receivers or whatever else. And all I'm trying to say is the quarterback's the biggest problem there in Philadelphia. Yeah.
I'm glad you did that. I'm glad you went long. I just gave you the runway to say, here you go.
I'm sorry. I know. And
no,
it is frustrating. And hey, listen, I love his work ethic. I don't know
ball like you. I just hand it over to you. I'm handing the ball off. I'm a handoff merchant on this show.
I appreciate it. I get a lot of hate on this subject, as you can imagine, but I'm going to keep it real. That's who I am. I call it like I see it. And, again, it's just there's a lot that I know. And then, of course, I study it hard. And if anybody watched my podcast, it's something that I break down a lot because we get a lot of questions. What happened to the offense? What happened here? And it's like, guys, there's people open and there's certain plays they can't call because he doesn't want it to go that way. And I think people have short-term memories in that, early on in Jalen Hurts' career, they tried to trade for every quarterback in the world, right? They were not sold on him because they knew some of these issues would arise if he became the starter. They were in Russell Wilson trade conversation, remember, right? Matthew Stafford trade conversation, trade for draft pick and to move up in the draft to get quarterback. They were flirted with the Deshaun Watson thing a little bit for a while. I think people forget all of that, right? And this is where we are now. So sorry.
All right, rapid fire two for you. We want to do another badasses. The Badass Wall, brought to you by Manscaped. Step up your grooming game with precision tools that make you look sharp and feel confident. Available at Target. In the past, you've given us Warren Sapp, Kevin Mulway, and Brian Dawkins. We're thinking about a Texas Longhorn here. Was there someone from your college days that was a genuine badass on the football field to be around Chris Sims?
Right. I mean, we had some badasses there. I mean, the teams I was a part of, we had some special football players, right? I mean, we had 2 top 5 offensive linemen and a bunch of other NFL offense, Cedric Benson, Roy Williams, right? Derek Johnson, the middle linebacker for the Kansas City Chiefs, right? Quentin Jammer, Nathan Vasher. I mean, we were damn good. Sean Rogers, D-tackle, Corey Redding. But the guy that takes the cake with badass, is Casey Hampton. Do you remember Casey Hampton, the big
Yes.
nose
The
tackle,
big,
played for
yes.
the Steelers?
Steelers.
Right.
Yes. He was
Big Hamp.
huge.
Big Hamp was like Zeus. He was like Zeus from, Friday, right? He was that guy. It's a little bit like if he just had the cross-eyed a little bit, you'd be like, damn, that is Zeus. But yes, he was the man. Nobody want to mess with him. He was the strongest guy on our team, and he was tough as hell and crazy. So I would give Casey Hampton the title when it comes to that combo.
Casey Hampton, you're going up on the board, the badass ball board presented by Manscaped. Last thing for you. We've been doing this the last couple weeks, and everybody's had a lot of fun with it. And it can be sanitized. It can be anonymous. It can be, some people have gone way off the deep end on it. Some people haven't.
Right.
But give me the funniest thing you've ever heard on a football field or a locker room. I think we're going to just call this overheard, but we've had some great stories the last couple of weeks, whether that's trash talk, whether that's just somebody coming up and making conversation, whether it's a crazy thing somebody said in the locker room. Give me the thing that you just still think about that makes you die.
Okay. All right. So, I got so many. Of course, I was drafted by the Tampa Bay Buccaneers right after they won the Super Bowl, right? With that personalities in that team and everything there. First off of what we've heard this week, all right, just because of the I'll kill you comment or whatever happened,
yes.
Right? First off, I would say the majority of the games I ever played and somebody told me they would kill me. All right. So like from high school on. So we're getting way too sensitive in the NFL. Until somebody brings a gun out there and points it to you, like shut the hell up and deal with it. It's football. Come on. That's ridiculous. Like, no joke. I'm telling you, almost every game I ever played, and somebody said, man, Sims, I'll kill you. Like, what? That's common talk. And you know what I said to them? I'll you up and kill you too. Like, what? That's just how you talk in football. All right. So off of that, though, man, Gruden had so many things, but I really think the moment that will always stick to my mind is I get to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. It's the first time the veterans are in the building. I'm in a little meeting with Gruden because I'm a young quarterback and he's getting me up to speed. And he goes, hey, make sure when you get in the locker room, man, you go around and introduce yourself to some of the vets, right? So I get there, the door opens, and the locker that's right in front of you in the old Tampa Bay locker room was Warren Sapp. So I was like, damn, that's the guy I want to meet more than anybody. It's Warren Sapp. This is going to be amazing. I stick my hand out and he goes, get the away from me. Don't even talk to me until you've played in a game, right? And of course, he didn't shake my hand, and the locker room kind of laughed because he's got the loudest voice in the locker room, and he totally took the cool out of my walk there. That is a moment that I'll never forget. But then he took me under his arms a little bit, and I was kind of his rookie haze, right? But he did it in the right way. I always had to carry his bags in away games. I always had a can of Skol on me at all times, right? I'd take his bags to the room in away games, and he'd throw a 20 on the floor. I would pick it up like he thought I was like, not going to do that every week, right? But, he was really cool to me, but yet tough on me and made me a pro right from the start. But that's just a moment, one of them at least, that, will always stick in my mind.
Well, do you think Gruden was setting you up to get hit?
I did think that. When it did happen, I was like, did Gruden know that was going to happen? Did he know that like I would go into Sapp and Sapp would be like, oh man, get this rookie out of my face? I think he probably did.
I'll say this. There's been stories about Tom Brady used to come up and introduce himself to the practice squad, the 8th guy in the practice squad who's going to be there for 4 days.
Right.
And I think there are a lot of people who are like, well, of course Tom Brady's going to do that. That ain't normal. Like, It's not normal for the superstars to be welcoming to guys who are going to be there for 6 days. And so
you got to earn your way. Right. Yeah. When I made it in the league, there was a point where some of the new guys on the team, right, you'd have 90 guys in the locker room. I had nicknames for most of them off the bat because it's like, damn, I can't learn all your names. And some of you aren't going to be here very long. So, I will see if you make the team, then I'll learn your name. Right. But yeah, it's not a usual thing. And that's why Brady's one of the greatest leaders there are.
Yeah, I just want to end on this. I was in the hallway maybe 5 years ago waiting for an interview to happen, and there was press conference going on outside, and I was next to a defensive coach, and an offensive player walks by, and the defensive coach says to the PR guys, they say, "Who?" He goes, "Who the hell was that?" And the PR guy goes, bro, that guy's been on the team all year. You can't do that. And he's like, that guy's too good for you to not know. But it's a defensive coach and an offensive player. And it's like sometimes it's just a big facility sometimes.
That's right. Exactly right.
Apparently this guy had been on the team all year. And so apparently he should have known who he was. But that's just kind of what happens
That's great.
sometimes when there's 53 guys.
That
All right,
happens.
Chris Sims unbuttoned, NBC Sports. He's on with Florio all the time. He's on Sunday nights. Thank you, buddy.
All right. Thank you, man. Always good being on with you. Hope you're well, buddy.
Absolutely. Thank you, man.
See ya.